Hello and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is February 4th and we are over here in my main power. York here, 104,000 generated in. Oh man, dang it, that was bad timing on my part. I came over because I thought it was running power, but basically when this guy runs now, as long as all of the turbines are running, which everything kind of backlogged, and it's good I addressed power today because like this guy couldn't run anymore, for example. So we're making gains, so that's good. So now when everything runs, I make roughly 120 million EU per tick. And the whole reason for that is down here, which is the Mark III fuel. This was my one goal for today, was to make this fuel, and wasn't too complicated. Did have some expensive crafts, which I'll show off here in a second, but I did convert this reactor to run on Mark III. I didn't want to convert both of these guys down here just yet, just in case. I didn't want to run into a situation where, while I'm driving home from work, suddenly everything power fails and I log in here and I have 120 power failures across the base. So I just want to make sure everything was running smoothly and fine. Yeah, but at some point when I build a bit more of a backlog, I'll probably move over there, or at least when I think once I'm at the point that I can healthily say I'm like gaining in this tank up here, which is what pulls it in, then I'll move this guy over. But for the moment, 120 EU per tick is, or million EU per tick is just fine. One of the other things I did, I haven't done all 9 yet because I was waiting on them to craft. Actually, let's see. Capacitor. Hey, they did craft. Let me do this real quick. Let's upgrade this guy's capacitors. I've been running on the ZTM ones for a little while now. Don't want to hit those with the Fadra because I'll probably shoot them, break to all 9 of them. Let's see, and then the only thing I do, north detector, I keep this guy at 90%, and then the south detector, which is the low end, I keep at 10%. Oh, all right. So yeah, this guy's all running as expected. And now we have plenty more of a buffer room as well. So I did not upgrade the coils over here, or not coils, the turbines over here. This was one of my other options, but I ended up not messing around with that. So yeah, let's hop over to where I'm making the Mark III fuel. So I did not make any other changes around the base at all today, aside from setting up to be able to make the Naquadah refinery. But let's see. Hop in here. So this is the whole setup from start to finish. This is everything needed to make the Mark III fuel. Although you don't technically need this guy, but it is recycling some small dust that these two over here make, which these are the density squared multi-block, basically implosion compressor, and then they part of their output is small dust. So all that, this guy's just recycling said dust. But so the reactor itself was pretty expensive, but like let's do NEC refinery. It did require the UEV circuits, which we got yesterday. A ton of high ultimate voltage coils. Actually, assumed it would be the other way around, ultimate high voltage, and all of that stuff. So that was everything that came into here. You know, I'm actually noticing something I did kind of goofy earlier. So I didn't realize this lens was shuffling through and I could have done any of these 4 lenses. So I thought I specifically needed that first one, the Bismuth lens. So one of the things I actually did to start the day off was did a falling meteor summon to get Bismuth or Bismuthite. So, but it looks like I didn't actually need it. So that was just me being goofy and not noticing that this shifted the different color lenses. So I could have used air or yellow garnet, and I have plenty of that stuff. But so that's all right. But yeah, that was for the main multi-block. The casings themselves were actually decently expensive too. Why am I having trouble finding it? Naquadah. So the actual casings, you see they all require these, as well as this or dung plate. So that was a thing. And then the field restriction coils themselves were also pretty expensive. Had to get basically I had to do a couple things, like it needs 8 dense Americanum plate for each one. Some of the things I did was I added flux electrum to passive, added iridium to passive, and then ultimately once I got this all set up and started like actually creating the line to have this guy run, I also added tungsten carbide to the passive as well, and we'll get to why. But right now, the thing that kind of restricts this guy is specifically high density uranium. We actually keep up with fuel just fine. Just to keep it so that I'm still making Mark II fuel, Mark I fuel, and Mark III fuel all at the same time. Instead of doing an export bus onto the input hatch for this refinery, I went with a storage bus with a high priority. So these two, the light and heavy fuel, come here first, and then ultimately go and whatever's left over can go into the earlier processes, because we do need this still, because we use the byproducts from the NAC2 fuel to make the Mark III. For the actual line itself, specifically what is going into the quote-unquote line to make this is this high-density uranium, high-density plutonium. Both of these are made in the exact same way. They're just, each of their own chain. Essentially, you start with uranium and or plutonium, depending on which one. The plutonium one takes both. They come in here, and they turn into a plutonium oxide, which then comes over here and mixes with the foil. For plutonium's case, it's HSS. For uraniums, it's tungsten carbide. So these come over here. They combine with the foil. And then that creates let me do the easiest way to find it. So that creates a wrapped ingot. There's a plutonium and a uranium version. We need to run that through the implosion compressor to get high density, which is the little tiny one. And then ultimately we run that through a compressor. I thought about setting up the implosion compressor to make it even cheaper, but because this runs at UEV, but it only takes 1 tick, so I'm not actually worried about the power drainage there, especially because obviously the return in power we're getting is so much greater. However, I didn't want to use the molten neutronium quite yet, like as a constant passive on this system, just because neutronium still takes a minute an ingot for me, and this would go through an ingot every 2 ticks if it's running full force. So I just didn't want to put myself in that situation. I'd rather have it be a little bit more expensive and only using plutonium and uranium and a few other miscellaneous things that I have plenty of. Like, for example, I've had HSS on passive for a while, so I mean we have 163,000 ingots. Tungsten carbide was added today, tungsten steel, and we're plussing. When I started doing this and set up the current setup, we were at 0. Now, one of the iterations I did on this, so most of this was basically the first draft layout, with the exception of what's going on right here. Originally, I had the system outputting directly into the input hatch and then using a crafting card for the foil. Ultimately, A, that was slow, and B, it takes up a CPU would take up a CPU space constantly forever. So I just went with this route where we throw a single block bending machine that's able to keep up with the recipe, in this case the ZPM one, and just export the ingot into here, and simple as that. Yeah, not really honestly too much else to say about it today. This will probably be one of the shorter episodes in a while. I think for tomorrow my goal will also be relatively easy. The only thing I directly have in mind, I do want to do this before I move on from UHV, just because I feel like if I do it later, it's not quite as what's it called? Meaningful. Because if you can do like doing this in UMV or something or UXV would be doesn't feel like it would be very rewarding. So I'm gonna knock this out before and then the actual for progress for tomorrow. But this is I will say this is just something I'm gonna do in the background. Not something I'm necessarily gonna be focusing on. But tomorrow's goal is gonna be this integrated order factory. Just kind of show real quick because it's short and I'll get out of here before I ramble too long, is we are really backed up on ores, and I've been putting off upgrading the ore processing over here because I knew I was close to that integrated ore factory. If you look and get out of here, we got 43 million, 10 million, lots of basically everything that's in here is here in ridiculous amounts with the exception of the stuff I have on like the fast track line. So that's the goal for tomorrow. And yeah, that's basically all I got for today. I hope everybody had a good day and has a good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.